begin with, we've heard a lot about Copper Sky and selling of parkland for commercial development. So I wanted to present this slide tonight, starting with the parcel that's yellow up in the corner. That parcel on this map, which was the map that was presented way back when, says private property on it, but in May of 2019, the city purchased it for the purpose of development opportunities. It was never part of the park land's initial purchase. And we now know, and you'll see in the slide momentarily, I believe, that that's where the hospital and surgery center and those things will be able to come in fruition of the council's desire to make sure that that was a good development. The balance of the land was purchased via a bond in March of 2010 for future park and commercial development. So if you look at what I will call the mustard color areas of the map, and again, this was the map presented way back in 2010 time frame. It says right on there, commercial development. And so all of that area was designed for commercial development, and the piece to the south of Martin Luther King Boulevard includes the new La Quinta Hotel. A second bond was taken out in May of 2013, which actually provided the funding to actually build the park part, which is the greenish area, the remainder of the park. The only difference to that is in August 3rd of 2021, we talked about the dog park and the fact that it had so much traffic flow in front of it that it had better opportunities. And we presented to the public in a public meeting of that time that we would like to commercialize that property and create 3 additional dog parks throughout the city. So I wanted to update people on the status of that tonight, as well as you, the city council. So I had a little fun with it, so forgive me if my, barks and recreation dog parks. So again, on August 3rd, staff presented to the City Council a multi-dog park option with a transition plan to match or exceed the current acreage in the park. The plan was to create smaller parks in and around our community for ease of access and less travel requirements. We had indicated there'd be at least 3 locations being planned, each within approximate 2-mile radius. So now it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 miles to get to the current single park. Most everyone should be within a 2-mile radius. Some exceptions, but for the large part, that would all be there. And the current park constitutes of roughly 3 acres, and the proposed 3 parks would be a little bit larger, 4 acres. So the other part of it is we said that we would put in amenities. So this is a montage of what some of those amenities will be. It includes the benches and the things you expect to see, but it also includes some agility opportunities for the dogs, some additional shade shelters, actually some direction signs, because some of the dog parks, you may find the park a lot, but this will help you get to it. And these are just examples. This equipment has been ordered for all 3 parks, and once it comes in, we will begin to put it in place. So the 3 locations, well, there's the 2-mile radius, and you can see the 3 locations where the line stops in the center of the 3 circles. So the first one was Canine Crossing, and since we have 3 now, I just kind of gave it some names, at least for a holding spot. Canine Crossing at Bacana Park. And this park fence was put up some time ago, and people say, why is it locked? And we had it locked because we're waiting on the amenities, but they wanted it open, so we opened it, but the amenities are still coming, and we will install those when we can. The second location will be the area in orange called the Bark at Copper Sky, for lack of a better term. And this will also have those same amenities, and it will be enclosed. If I can back up for just a minute to the amenities, if you see the lower right-hand picture and you see that kind of wrought iron fence, that will actually be used in the park at Copper Sky versus chain link, so we'll have a nicer look to it. The chain link out at Bacana Park is because it's adjacent to and part of the existing fencing for the ballpark. The other one which will be the larger of the three, will be out behind City Hall. We're working on a new park process out there, and we're finalizing those, so we don't exactly know which piece of the acreage behind us, but we'll be there. And this is kind of a mock-up of what we can expect there. We'll have the drinking fountains for both humans and dogs, or dogs and their masters, whatever is appropriate. Sitting benches, shade structures, place to run, all those type of things. So we think this has added amenities. And then this is probably the most important slide of all. We invite the public to provide input on preferred amenities by contacting BARK Parks at maricopa-arizona.gov. That won't go live until tomorrow, though. So if you try tonight, don't get mad. It goes live sometime tomorrow, and we welcome your comments to help us make sure that we meet as many of the needs as we possibly can of our dog owners and pet owners.
City Manager, just to check, is there truly a space between BARK and parks?
No.
Typically not.
Typically not. That's just me being used to typing with spaces between words.
I agree. So I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's probably not a space between parks and the and either. So no spaces. Again, this map shows that most of the land that we're developing is for commercial purposes. That was its original design from day one, and we're honoring that moving forward. So I also wanted to talk about that first 10 acres that we bought in 2019. It's been announced that it will include a medical campus with an ER and hospital with medical offices, luxury lofts, extended stay suites, and physical therapy and sports psychology. And if you've been by there, you've seen the construction fence up, and you've seen some heavy equipment sitting out there. They're ready to get going with their grading permit. They're waiting on the final permit for stormwater from Pinal County, and when they get that, they'll start going. Their buildings are being submitted for review by staff for building permits, which will come a little bit later down the line. So again, this is a great amenity. And then the Innovations Campus, where the dog park was and being replaced with the 3 dog parks, will include an innovation center, life and science center, a residential tower, apartment homes, sports and science academy, maker shop, and movie academy. And what all that means, we'll let the developer explain as he comes forward with what all that means. I'm not sure that means Robert Redford will be here making movies, but maybe it does. I don't know. We'll find out. I think it's really more to help people learn the skills, and I'm sure there'll be opportunities to work with our local students and others with that project. Shea Connolly has purchased that centerpiece on Martin Luther King, and this is not new. This has been out there for a while. The picture to the right is the senior living project. It was pretty much ready to go, and then COVID hit. And of course, all of a sudden, nursing homes, assisted living centers was a big thing. And so they had to go back and restructure and replan the whole thing. So each room now has its own air circulation. And so if these things happen in the future, we don't have to kick our seniors out of their residences. Since then, the company that was doing it got acquired by another larger company. But we think this particular piece is getting real close. They're approved for everything except for the building permit, so they're real close to getting done. The balance of it is, and this is not what they're building, this is just a concept for not having a big question mark there, but it will be similar in that it will have retail on the bottom with some multifamily on top. These are market rate units, and they did increase their program from 16,000 square feet of retail to about 20. This, of course, is just still conceptual and not near as far along as the other. And as I've said before, an application doesn't mean it's going to be approved, and entitlements doesn't mean it's going to be built. And even if it's built, it may not get occupied, like the Walgreens over here that sat empty for almost a decade before they occupied it. So, as one of our council members said, when you can exchange money for produce or products, then you know they're open and they're real. I also wanted to share about Maricopa Station, because we hear about this all the time. What's going on? What will happen? The area to the right, where the pink color is, everything north is property owned by the city. We did issue a request for bids earlier this week. We know of two commercial developers who have expressed interest. Will be a couple of weeks before we get their bids in. We hope we get additional bids. They now feel like the retail market is better than it was a year or two ago, partly because the cost of building is coming down. They are concerned about the cost of interest rates going up, but at the same time, they're beginning to realize that the Maricopa market is very underserved, and there are a lot of people now interested in beginning to find a path to service our community. The piece in the pink to the south is privately held, but it's my understanding the parties that are interested in working with our land are also working with that landowner to do a collective project. It has the capacity, and I emphasize capacity, to be about 250,000 square feet of retail. Again, once you go in and they take your money, you can take your bag out to the car, that's when it's real. But before then, this is where it all starts. But I wanted to bring your attention to the left side, too. The left side is literally right across the street, just south of the new Exceptional Health Hospital. And this is a project that just came to us a couple of days ago, and it has something like 29,000 square feet of office capability, which we have virtually none of in the city. So I thought these were two exciting projects that may have a foothold and may show real potential and opportunity for us going forward.